Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Pep's Corner. Today, we will continue our book, Animal Cells. We will read from pages 14 to 23. Our focus, which is our purpose for reading, is displayed on the screen. So go ahead, make sure you have your book in hand and are actively following along and reading. Remember, boys and girls, to reread a second time. Make sure you are coming to shared reading, fully prepared. Let's begin. How do cells take in and use food? You eat a ham and cheese sandwich. A giraffe eats leaves. A vulture eats rotting meat from a dead animal. A dung beetle eats. You get the idea. Animals take in food to survive. I'm in the little white caption. Despite their size and weight, giraffes get the nutrients they need by eating tiny leaves and twigs. Some animals, like humans, must eat every day. We cannot store enough energy in our bodies to go very long without food. Female whales, on the other hand, go months without feeding, while hummingbirds feed 5 to 8 times an hour. Animals process foods in different ways and eat different kinds of foods. Herbivores, such as cows and rabbits, eat only plants. Carnivores, such as wolves and lions, eat only meat, kind of like also humans as well. Omnivores, such as humans and bears, eat all forms of food. Page 15 has a nice blue caption. It says, how much food do animals need to feed their cells? Boys and girls, I'm going to ask you to take a look and review this page. Miss Pep will not be reading that. And you can see that all the different types of animals, what it eats, and how much it eats. See if you can compare that to what humans eat. Page 16. What happens to the food we eat? Let's follow that ham and cheese sandwich from the plate to your cells. You take a bite of sandwich. Cells in your stomach sense the food and produce extra saliva, the watery liquid in your mouth. Your chewing and the enzymes in the saliva help break down the bread, ham, and cheese. You swallow, sending a mushy pulp into your stomach. Acid in your stomach breaks down the food into molecules, the smallest unit of a substance. A ham and cheese sandwich contains vitamins, minerals, fats, proteins, sugars, water, and fiber. As the sandwich passes through your intestines, nutrient molecules are absorbed into your body. I'm in the white caption box. Your cells need you to eat a balance of different foods to provide the nutrients they need. Page 17, I'm at the top in the white caption. Cells in a lion's body process meat to get proteins, fats, sugars, and nutrients they need to work properly. How do cells use nutrients? At this point, the cells take over. They use calcium to make strong bone and tooth cells. Iron goes into red blood cells. Proteins are used to build muscle cells and support the growth of new cells. The carbohydrates in bread are turned into energy to power cells. The fats in the ham and cheese are processed and absorbed into cells. The unused parts of food become waste and pass from the body as feces or solid waste. No one type of food has the nutrients human cells need. That is why humans need to eat so many different foods. Cows get all the nutrients their cell needs by eating grass. Wolves and lions only eat meat, but their cells process those foods to get all their nutrients from meats. Being a plant eater or meat eater is not a decision animals make. That decision, like nearly everything else, is determined when they're cells. What products do animal cells make? All cells have specific jobs. There are bone cells, blood cells, organ cells, and so on. Cells produce products that help them work properly. Animal cells use 4 main molecules: proteins, nucleic acids, carbohydrates, and fats. These molecules produce the materials that make up and run an animal's body. How do we make and use proteins? Proteins are found in nearly every living cell and fluid in your body. When you digest proteins, cells break protein down into amino acids. The amino acids form chains, and the chains make new proteins. Proteins that you eat are turned into different, more useful proteins in the body. Your muscles, heart, lungs, stomach, and most hormones contain proteins. Hormones are chemical substances that control how cells react. Proteins also work in red blood cells, helping the cells carry oxygen. Antibodies in your body that fight disease are also proteins. All animals use proteins, but not always the same way. Keratin, a variety of protein, makes fingernails, tortoise shells, eagle feathers, porcupine quills, and the outer layer of roundworms. On the surface, a feather does not look like a fingernail, but through a microscope, the basic cells of these items look pretty much the same. Nucleic acid. There are two basic types of nucleic acid, RNA and DNA. RNA refers to the ribonucleic acid. DNA refers to deoxyribonucleic acid. Nucleic acids provide the directions that tell cells where to go and what to do. A bone cell, for example, is only a bone cell because DNA told it to be. DNA carries all the information your body needs to determine which types of cells are formed and what those cells do. It is a huge information warehouse. No cell could read through all that information every time it needed to do some work. Within DNA, there are sections called genes that code for specific proteins. To make a protein, the DNA code is first copied into a piece of messenger RNA. The messenger RNA leaves the nucleus and travels to a ribosome, where the gene's code is used to produce a protein. Where do cells get the energy they need to do work? Carbohydrates are fuel for animals. They provide the energy cells need to do their work. Carbohydrates should make up 45 to 60% of the total calories a person eats each day. There are two types of carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates. Animals sometimes need sudden bursts of energy. For example, an animal needs to run from a predator. A burst of energy power muscles cells to give the fleeing animal speed. That energy comes from simple carbohydrates or simple sugars. Simple sugars, such as soda, candy, and jelly, provide fast energy because they are quickly digested. The sugars in these foods are absorbed into the blood quickly. Simple sugars give cells a boost of energy. Although some are stored, most are used up too quickly to be useful over a long period. Complex carbohydrates. Animal cells also need energy to do normal work, such as digesting food or building new cells. The energy to do that work usually comes from complex carbohydrates or stored energy. Complex carbohydrates are often starches like rice, pasta, bread, potatoes, fruits, and vegetables. Your body has to work on to change the starch in whole wheat bread into sugar for energy. It takes longer for cells to absorb the bread's energy. Complex carbohydrates give cells more than just energy. Complex carbohydrates also have their nutrients that bodies need. Broccoli and tomatoes have vitamin A. Whole wheat bread and brown rice have protein and B vitamins. Potatoes have vitamin C and iron. On page 21, the little white caption, it says, whole wheat bread is a complex carbohydrate that is a good source of energy. Do your cells really need fats? Animals also need fats, which includes waxes. Fats are dissolved in the body, processed and used in cells. The cell membrane of an animal cell is made up into parts of fats. These fats allow water and nutrients into the cell and keep waste products out of the cell. Fats also store energy and help cells use vitamins. Storing fat. Many animals store fats in their bodies during peak feeding seasons. This helps them survive when food is scarce. Without fats, bears would not be able to sleep through the winter. Whales could not leave Arctic waters to bear their young. For whales, that fat is blubber, which insulates or covers their bodies from the cold. Blubber also stores carbohydrates, which feed animal whales. Bodies from months. When they head south to give birth to calves, a gray whale cow, for example, will not eat for the time she leaves the Arctic in late winter until she returns the following fall. Ooh, boys and girls, that's a long time. The little white caption says, the body gets good fats from olives, avocados, nuts, and vegetable oils. Good and bad fats. Animal bodies have fats that are sometimes called good or bad. Good fats help animal bodies work together. For humans, good fats come from fish, soybeans, avocados, olives, and nuts. Bad fats, like fats from beef or pork, are hard for cells to use. They may clog the free flow of blood through your body. And the caption that's in blue, I want you boys and girls to read that on your own. It says, filled with water, you'll gain and get some nice interesting facts about water in cells and in your body.